Deep within the Amazon rainforest, there's said to be a lost city of gold. It's been called El Dorado, the city of the gods, the Patatí, and other names like that. And it was supposedly so wealthy and grand that when it was discovered by the Spanish conquistadors, they literally couldn't believe their eyes because everything was made of solid gold. It was like stepping into a fantasy game or something. Except this wasn't a dream or a hallucination. This was reality. The jungle itself was made of gold. There was just one problem though. Nobody could find this place. You see, the Spanish never actually recorded where exactly this happened. They only described it as being somewhere deep in the green hell of the Amazon. But despite the lack of any real information, one man would spend his entire life searching for the lost city until he disappeared without a trace and left us with only speculation about what exactly happened to him. His name was Percy Fawcett, and this is the story of his disappearance. It all started back in 1926 when Percy Fawcett was sent out by the Royal Geographical Society to explore the unexplored areas of South America. Now, Percy was no ordinary explorer. He was an expert on ancient ruins and artifacts and had already discovered many amazing things during his career, such as rock art that depicted prehistoric people hunting dinosaurs. That's right, dinosaurs. Turns out those things are real. Who knew? Anyway, Percy was well known at this point, and as such, he got to choose where he wanted to go on his new expedition, and for this trip, he requested to go to South America to look for the lost city of gold. Most people thought he was crazy. After all, this city was nothing but a myth. There was no real proof that it even existed. Not to mention, the Amazon rainforest is basically impossible to get lost in. It's so thick, so tangled, and so big that even if you did find the city, you'd probably die of starvation or become one with the monkeys. So most people thought this was going to be just another failure on Percy Fawcett's long list of failures. But they were wrong. On April 1926, Percy Fawcett stepped off the boat in Brazil and began his trek through the jungle. He hired a couple of locals to help guide him, and they followed a river deep into the green. 3 weeks later, they emerged from the jungle near some ruins. And while they were the golden ruins, Percy was expecting they were still important, because these ruins provided evidence that a civilization did indeed exist here thousands of years ago. Not only that, but there were some strange symbols carved into the rocks that resembled the constellations in the night sky. And this gave Percy the idea that the natives here must have been astronomers of some sort. But as interesting as these ruins were, Percy still hadn't found the main attraction, the lost city of gold. So he decided to push on. However, the deeper he went into the jungle, the more dangerous it became. At one point, the group had to flee for their lives when they encountered a jaguar, which is apparently even more terrifying than it is in zoos. But they escaped and continued on, until finally they reached a clearing. And in the middle of the clearing was a wall made of gold. And beyond the wall lay the lost city of gold. Well, maybe not quite yet. The thing was, it was covered in vines and trees and creepers and stuff. So they spent 2 days cutting away the foliage to reveal the entrance to the city. Once inside, Percy and his team were stunned. The streets were paved with pure gold. There were palaces everywhere, and statues of gods made of solid gold. They also found strange devices that looked like astronomical instruments, and as far as gold cities go, this one was pretty impressive. But there was one problem. The place was completely deserted. There was nobody around. There was no movement. It was like the entire population just vanished into thin air. However, there was evidence that they didn't leave too long ago. There were freshly picked fruits and vegetables in the marketplace, and clothes were still hanging on the clothesline. It was almost like the city was abandoned midday. Fawcett and his team explored the city for a few days, but they never did find anyone. Eventually, they ran out of food and supplies and had to return home. All the while, Fawcett kept notes about everything he saw and collected artifacts and minerals and plants and stuff. But when he returned home, none of it was of much interest to the scientific community. They basically all told him to shove it, and that's why he went back again in 19... This time he went back with his son Jack and another explorer named Raleigh, and once again, they ventured deep into the jungle. However, it only took them a couple of days to realize that they had gotten lost. Their supplies began to dwindle, and eventually they were forced to turn back. But disaster struck when they encountered a tribe of hostile natives. They fought back, but they were outnumbered and outgunned. And before they knew it, both Fawcett and Ramil were captured. Meanwhile, young Jack managed to escape and hide in the trees. Later, he would claim that he watched the natives torture his father and then put him and Mr. Rimmel to work building a stone pyramid. But after several months, Jack had to leave to find help. Unfortunately, he never did find any help, and he would spend the rest of his life searching for his father. Meanwhile, Percy Fawcett and Raleigh Rimmel were never seen again. And this brings us to the question, what happened to them? Some say they were killed by the natives. Others say they died of starvation or disease. But personally, I think they may have actually found the real city of gold. I mean, we know that there was a civilization here thousands of years ago. We know that the city was abandoned, but we don't know what happened to the people. Perhaps Fawcett and Ramil stumbled upon the natives and were taken prisoner. Or maybe the natives were ain't around anymore, and the two explorers were simply added to the thousands of unfound missing persons cases. The thing is, we don't know what happened to them because we've never found their body. Not to mention, they were carrying tons of gold with them, and we all know how greedy people can be. Maybe they were killed by thieves, or perhaps they found the lost city of gold, realized it was a trap, and barely escaped with their lives. Who knows? All we know is that neither of them were ever seen again. Even their families have no idea what happened. But what do you think happened to them? Let me know in the comments below. Now this might be the end of the video, but this is end of the story because I am gone. Keep searching for the lost city of gold. And if you want to come along, you can do that by clicking that subscribe button. It'll take you to my channel where I post videos about mysterious lost cities, creepy discoveries, and so much more. Also, while you're down there, you might as well click that like button because it makes me happy when you do. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and stay safe because there are dangerous things out there. I'm talking about things that go bump in the night.